Hey, my name's James Nicholson. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I want to talk about the largest landlord in the UK. They currently have 7,500 properties, but by 2030, which isn't very long, they're planning to add an additional 50,000 properties. I want to talk about what impact this has on the property market, and I want to correct a few things because I see people talking about BlackRock and Lloyds and places like that. And the belief is that they're just going to buy up all the houses and all the flats. And that's going to mean that ultimately you can't get a house and own it, or it's going to be difficult to rent. But they've got a slightly different strategy when you dig into it. And I'll talk about that in this video. So if you're new around here and you haven't done before, do subscribe to the channel over there and hit that bell notification. We've just hit 51,000 subscribers this weekend. And by subscribing, you'll get all the latest property news, interest rate news, house investing tips, and much, much more. And let's get some views on this video. Your part is really simple. All you need to do is smash like, tickle like, do something to that like button. That really helps with the YouTube algorithm, and that's really helped the channel grow. So thanks to everyone that does that. So I want to talk about Lloyds here. Lloyds have come out and said a few years ago that they want to be pretty much the largest landlord in the UK. Now you get these big corporations buying lots of property. One that I see in the comments that you guys talk about a lot is BlackRock. And they're very active in America, and they've got some stuff going on here as well. But Lloyds are moving at a startling rate and really growing their portfolio aggressively at the moment. Currently, they have 7,500 properties in the UK. That's a huge amount, isn't it? And that's a mix of flats and houses as well. So they're not just buying one particular property type. They want to be there for people that are just starting out with their first rental property, and people that are looking to have families and have longer term rentals as well. So that's where they're at, 7,500. But they want to add by 2030 an additional 50,000 units. That is crazy. That's massive, rapid growth. And so ultimately, by the time they do that, they would be at that point, if no one else keeps up, the biggest landlord in the UK. Now, there's pros and cons on going with these types of companies. The pros are, a lot of these properties are going to be brand new. So if you're a renter, you're going to get something that's brand new. Now, I'm not saying this is necessarily true of Lloyds, but if you do look at the bigger corporate landlords as a whole, you can see that they are not great at dealing with maintenance issues. A lot of these big corporate landlords, and you can do your own due diligence, look on places like Trustpilot, Google reviews and stuff like that. You'll see that if you have a fault with a property, if you have mold, if you have a broken boiler or something along those lines, it can be very frustrating and very difficult to get anything sorted or resolved on those properties. And so because of that, a lot of people do feel that they don't get the service that they might get with a smaller landlord. Because if I have a problem with one of my properties, my tenants can get hold of me very quickly. In fact, my agents will deal with smaller things very quickly. So let's just say, for argument's sake, there was a problem with a blocked sink. That's something that I've had recently. So a blocked sink. The agent would just deal with that and just tell me after. Like, I wouldn't even necessarily know about the contractor going out. They would tell me afterwards and deal with it. But if it's a bigger issue, maybe the boiler's totally broken, I would deal with that myself. So the agent would come to me, they would give me some options, and I would pick one of those options. It wouldn't just happen without me knowing, but it would happen quickly. That's the main thing here. And so these big corporations can be a little bit difficult to deal with sometimes. But these guys are buying blocks of flats and houses. Now, every video that I do, particularly because a lot of the content at the moment isn't particularly positive at the moment, is it? We've got the Renters' Right Act. and all of this stuff happening, a lot of people say that you'll own nothing and be happy. And that's the World Economic Forum that they're talking about there. And so I've done some content around that. And the belief is that we will rent everything in future, including our mobile phones, including films. Think about it. You used to go to the cinema back in the day. People still do. But now you're more likely to stream something. So you don't own it. You kind of rent it for a period of time. A phone is similar as well. A lot of people, Apple, for example, do a deal where you just get the new phone every single year. You pay a monthly fee to them and they swap it out to the latest device every single year. That's renting that device effectively. You've got lease cars and stuff like that. And the belief is that most people will rent property in the future. And so because of that, because the World Economic Forum's talking about that, and because of some of Labour's policies and the Conservative policies as well, a lot of people think that that's what's going to happen with the housing market. But here's the thing on this, right? So Lloyds aren't going to buy single flats. That's just not what they're into here. And they're saying that in the statement. You can see what they're doing here. So they partner with people like Barratt Homes and Wimpy, and they build a whole estate for them, and they buy the whole estate. With the houses that they've got, they built developments that have got 100, 200 houses, and they buy all of them, right? They're not interested in single units. They buy all of those properties, and then they rent those out to people, and they would use estate agents and other sources to get those rented out. So that's what they're doing there. But what's also happening is they're buying blocks of flats, and they're not going to buy single units. So if you're an investor and you have a block that you own one flat in, they're not interested in that. And the reason is because that would mean that they would have hundreds of thousands of management meetings that they would need to go to. And it just wouldn't work for them. And so you think of all the problems that could happen if you owned one flat in a block over here, another flat in a block over there. It just wouldn't work out. You'd have management meetings, you'd have service charges that are all different. What these guys want is blocks of flats where every boiler is the same, where every kitchen unit is the same, where all the carpets are the same. Because by doing that, it's easier to maintain those properties when you need to do that. And so it's interesting that Lloyds are saying now that they are looking to grow even faster than they have been. And so by the time it gets to 2030, these guys could have pretty much 60,000 units in the UK and be the biggest landlord. Now, the pros are that, yeah, you'll get that brand new property. But what also will happen here is that these developments, the rents will be expensive. They're not going to be low-end rents. They're going to be at the top end of the market. And that's what they're looking to attract, is those high rents. And they'll push rents up because all of the surrounding properties with landlords like me and you, those prices will increase as well. What do you think about Lloyds becoming the biggest landlord in the UK and aggressively buying and actually having around 60,000 units in only about 4 years? I'd like to know your thoughts in the comments below. If you haven't grabbed a copy yet of our new ebook, Mortgage Secrets, thousands have already. This will give you the best way to get the cheapest mortgage. We're talking about off-market lenders in here. We're talking about how to get a broker, when to get a broker, when to start the process. You can grab a copy in the first comment, and you can grab it in the description as well. Do also, while you're here, check out all the other content as well on the channel, including this video right here.